Okay, well, what part are we on now? Part 5, I think. Final parts, really. The main bit now is going to be setting up my control surfaces. And where are we going? So we're over there a bit, I think. Back over a little bit. So for this, first of all, I thought it was a good time to make sure my servos were actually centered. So I've created a new model on the Tyrannus and just got it to the point where I can control the servos, so I know they're in the right neutral position when I put my control horns on. Taking the screw out, where have I put the screw? So that should be in the neutral position, so I can screw that on now. Okay, so after all of that, I've had to ditch the fancy adjustable control rod holders because one of the little screws has fallen out and I can't find them. So I've gone back to having to bend the wire when I get to that point. So I've got my glue gun at melting point. So I want my rod there just to kind of, so I know where to put the control horn. Stick some hot glue on it. Try not to burn myself again. Last time I did this, it was so hot it blooming seemed to like unstick the laminate. I'm trying to do this without getting my head in shot. Do it right. I'll use that to give this another hot glue rather than my finger. I don't know if you can hear it, but it sounds like there's a blooming JCB going around at the moment cutting our hedges. So apologies if you can get loads of kind of droning noise. I don't know what it was on one of the other videos. You can hear, I think it was my neighbours in their noisy car. Right, so that's the initial horn put up, glued on, whatever you want to call it. So to strengthen that, I'm going to use a gift card, cut it in half and use half on each horn. And turn my glue gun off a minute so it doesn't go into complete meltdown. So I want the gift card to kind of sit there, so I need a diagonal cut in there to go over the horn. And I've lost my pen. There it is. So I'm just gonna, with these builds I've been all about what am I about? Just doing it JFDI and doing it by eye and doing it the best I can, sort of thing. So on that, it might actually be a bit too big for this one. I'll have to trim it down a bit. I'm not going to know until after if my head's in the shot for the whole of this. I'm going to trim it down a bit now. So I think I want it to be like that. At the end of the day, that angle, that cut is not essential to the perfect flight of this wing. It's just about getting this gift card. I have to keep remembering I am in shot. Feel better, but almost. It's about giving some strength to this joint onto the elevon. That's better. Okay, so apply the hot glue to the gift card first, so then you've got less chance of melting your plane. And try not to burn your fingers like I probably will. Squish it around if you can. And you're going to want to hold this on there a little bit at least. The good thing is with the heat of the hot glue, it tends to make the gift card a bit more malleable, so it forms around that horn quite well. You still needed to cut a bit more for that. Probably going to get my head in shot again. I want to make a mark on this rod to know where I need to put a bend in. So I want it there. So you can try and put a Z bend into a, by Z bend I mean, focus, can you, can you see that? All the way, David. So that has got one Z bend on one end and nothing on the other, so I'm going to put a Z bend on the other end as well. You also need to make sure you've got the right angle, because on the servo side I'm going to want it, so I'm going to want one that way, but then the other end I'm going to want it kind of at a right angle. I know what I mean, I'll show you in a minute. So first heat up the wire, whatever you want to call it. I haven't got a fancy glow torch, I'm afraid, so I'm reduced to a humble cigarette lighter. And no, I don't smoke. Filthy habit. So I want the Z to be that way. Bend to be there, I think. It's hard. So I'm lining up the point with the pen mark. Is that in? It's going to be bloody cold by the time I get this in there. Right, and then you just bend it. Here we go. One Z bend. And what I've done is you've got one, yeah, see? So they're not both the same angle. So basically, so one goes in, this one goes in vertically. And then that one's lined up to go horizontally. What I'm going to do, I think, is take the servo horn off so I can put them both in without having to bend anything. Just shoot that into there, put the horn back on. There we go. hopefully you got some of that on not my head the whole time. So, yay! Oh, I was going to put that up there more, so it was at a right angle. Okay. Downside of doing it by eye and not really knowing what you're doing, or I wanted it at a right angle to the actual control surface, so it was kind of the best. Arse. Oh well. Right, so I've shifted the camera again because it seemed like we were getting a lot of my head in shot, and that's not really what we want to be seeing. So I've done the other control horn, glued that on, and I've measured the point where I want the bend to be in this rod. So I thought I'd try again to see if I can get a better shot of me actually doing the bend. So where, I don't think you're going to see a mark, are you? Can you see that? It's just the reflection of my hand. Well, so anyway, where the mark is, you need to line the mark up with, if I'm going to put the rod in to the crimps, whatever, the Z-bend pliers, like so, I want the, I'm going to try and find something to point, can you see that? So I want the mark to line up with this first kink here, because the wire is going to end up, the wire will end up in that direction, so you see. So you want the point where you want the mark, where you've marked, you want that to line up with this first kind of bend part there. So that will get it closest to where you've measured. I've got no idea if that makes any sense. But while the wire is in this angle now, once you've bent it, it will be there. So if you can kind of imagine, it's going to come, the wire will be coming along, up, and then along. Does that make any sense? Answers on a postcard. I don't know. So I want, oh no, that's gone up a bit high. If you heat the wire up like this, it really helps with the bend, because I've had so much trouble in the past of it. You put the wire in the Z-bend pliers, and you get to the point where you've almost got a nice bend, and then the wire just will snap on you, right, when you've just got that almost perfect bend. Whereas if you heat it up a bit, it's so much more kind of malleable, or whatever the word is. So I'm lining that mark up with that first kind of kink, and I'm not in shot. Excuse my French. Oh, that sounded like it bent, it snapped then. There we go, one Z bend.